Tonight we're making Hunter's Delight. We're gonna use venison, deer meat, ground deer meat, with cabbage, onions, and garlic, and then I'll show you some of the other spices we're gonna use. And before all that begins, we're gonna have this oak-aged vanilla stout, which we haven't tried yet. Foam. We're gonna start by cutting our onions. It's always good to have a sharp knife doing this. Now we're just doing a basic diced onion. Nothing fancy. No fancy knife work this time. Here's your bowl. There's our onions. We're gonna get some garlic cleaned up here. You gotta use the whole head. There's none of that You gotta use just one or two cloves. We're using the whole head, because that's how garlic is meant to be used. And this garlic is from the store, of course, although we do have some in the ground growing. But these are easier to peel than if you pick your own fresh out of the ground. So really all you gotta do is just give it a little squeeze, a pinch, or like a little twist, and they peel just fine. Some people don't like peeling garlic. I'll show you another way to do this. See, we got a bad one there, we'll just cut that off, because no garlic is bad garlic. Don't want those vampires going after you, do you? Anyways, so we're just peeling these and sipping on my vanilla bourbon barrel aged stout. Alright, we're gonna cut this bad mumbo jumbo off. And we're just gonna cut these up into little slivers, because we're just gonna dice them up. I like to crush mine. I'll show you next time. Go watch my other video. You can see where I just crushed these with the cleaver. This knife is really not meant for crushing anything. It's only meant for soft meats and vegetables. No bones, nothing hard. Very hard Japanese steel. So yeah. So we're just gonna cut them up like that, and then we'll just give them a little fine dice and slice like a samurai. So here's our garlic. What I have done earlier in the year is I have made some deer sausage, well, deer smokies, and these are smoked and stuffed with apples and jalapenos. And since our recipe is also going to be involving apples, I thought this would go really well to give it a little smoky flavor to our dish. This is our ground venison that we're going to be using. So we're going to cut up deer venison, whatever you want to call it, smokies, and we're going to just cut them up to be used in our dish. Before we do that though, we're going to cut up one apple. In our recipe, you can use whatever apple you want. Washed apple, we're just gonna dice it up. Skin on and everything. This is our apple. Always try to cut your vegetables and fruits before you cut your meats. These were also smoked on apple wood, so they're gonna go very well together with our apple dish. And that's pretty much most of our prep for this dish. Like I said, Hunter's Delight. Just a few basic ingredients anybody should really have. One ingredient might not be available to everybody, but it's definitely available in your store. Just gonna caramelize it. Medium heat on olive oil. Hot pan. See how it's getting nice brown? That's what we're looking for. We're just gonna caramelize it. Just like any other ground meat, you want to cook this all the way through. Now we'll take our venison out of the pan and save it for later, alongside with our garlic and onions that have been caramelized. We're going to let that heat back up, and we're going to put our cabbage in there. And this is a whole head of cabbage, nothing but cabbage. Hot pan, and just let it sweat all the water out. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to it. Can you hear it sizzle? Okay, we got our cabbage nice and cooked. Not all the way though, because this is still going to cook longer. Now we're going to put our garlic and onions into the mix. We're going to take our ground venison and throw it all in there. And then we're going to take our venison smokies and throw them in there. And yes, this pan is big enough for all of it. Now we just let it all simmer down. The smoked venison sausage, the garlic and onion. It's just amazing. And now we're gonna put our apples in there too. And if you haven't noticed, we haven't seasoned anything yet, so now is the time to do all of our seasoning. We're gonna take our salt. We're gonna take the pepper. Lots of black pepper. Chili powder. Onion powder. Garlic powder. Because we all know you can't have enough garlic. Caraway seeds. This is what makes this dish. So we're going to take and sprinkle the caraway seeds in it. And the secret ingredient is honey. You can never go wrong with honey. We want the apples cooked. We want the cabbage cooked. We want it all nice and cooked and soft. And all our spices mixed in there. And as ML likes to say, you put all your spices in there and you gotta let them have a nice good old party in there. So we're just gonna let this simmer. And this is our finished product. Everything has reduced down. Everything smells amazing. You can smell the apples. You can smell the cabbage, the meat, the garlic, the onions. And this is our final finished product. Our final product is ready, and if you haven't watched our previous video, please go watch it, because this part is from the previous video. This is our tortilla, homemade tortilla shells that we made, and these are gonna get stuffed with our Hunter's Delight, fresh off the stove. Cabbage, onions. You can't go wrong with that. Topped off with fresh baby romaine. And on top of that, sriracha mayonnaise. This is truly a meal like you've never had before. Wrap it up. Dinner is served.